Hello. Can you hear me? Am I supposed to be able to hear everyone else? Awesome. Okay. Bear with me. I'm on TV. That's scary. Okay. How many viewers do we have? 7. I guess we'll start. Okay, so what I was going to show is connecting to Slack from ABAP. So this is a bit weird just talking to the computer, but I'm assuming you can all hear me. Okay, let's go for it. Right. Okay, so Slack API. All the docs are here. So how it works is so there's 2 ways to do it. You can use this RTM API, so I'm going to use here, or there's this web API. But for bots, really, I think you want the RTM because it's more like a persistent connection. So you need to make one post or get, and it'll give you back a token. Then they're going to use to create like a persistent WebSocket connection. So if we look at the ABAP to do that, so I've got this Slackbot class that's going to handle all the to and fro from Slack. So it might be easier if I just do this and make the font a bit bigger. How's that? Can you read that? Ooh. Okay, let's go back to more civilized size font. All right, so we're going to use these ABAP push channels. So in order to use those, you've got to implement these 2 interfaces in your class, and that'll give you all the messages for handling the messaging coming from the WebSocket connection. So as soon as the WebSocket connection gets opened, it goes into this open message. Any messages received will go in here. So every time something happens on Slack, it's going to trigger this message here. And obviously close and error, fairly self-explanatory. So the flow kind of goes like this. We're going to do a connect So in effect, we're just doing a call to this URL here. So really, we're just doing that. So when I set up the bot in Slack, it gives you this token to use. So when I do that, it could be back a whole load of JSON, and in there somewhere there is a little token. So if we just pipe that into grep, and it comes back, and we'll just fetch out that code then with a little regular expression here. Yeah, so you get this WebSocket URL. So instead of HTTP, it's obviously WSS, and then a connection. So you've got, I think, about 20 seconds after you make the initial HTTP call to make your WebSocket connection. I think it expires after about 20 seconds. So once we've got that, we'll then call this connect to WebSocket method. So we pass in the URL that we've just gotten back. We create a little ABAP push channel WebSocket client, connect to it, and then we've got some hard-coded text in here that just sends an initial message so we can see that it's working. We can just test that. So if I run this, hopefully, yeah, there he is. So I've just set up a little test Slack channel for this one. So there he is, and you can see that he's connected there, ABAP. So it's like a persistent connection. So instead of like HTTP back and forth, it's like a persistent connection. So we can see that in SAP GUI somewhere. So there's this transaction for looking at WebSockets. You can see that he's connected there. I've got some little commands for him to listen to, so I might appreciate that that'll keep him off. And then if I refresh this, the connection's gone. That's kind of the mechanism for connecting. Yeah, as I said, these implemented methods then are for all the WebSocket traffic. So as soon as we get a message, it comes in here, and then I've just got some like pattern matching type stuff here to find it. So it might be better if I just drop into the debugger here. Right, so you can see that there's loads of stuff coming in. So every time anything happens, so if someone starts typing even, then all sorts of stuff comes in here, and you can just parse the JSON then to see what actually is happening. If I message him, show me some donkeys, and you can see this thing's going mad. So we've got user typing, and then a message comes in. So we're just parsing it kind of pretty basic way, but this is just a kind of a test around. So yeah, it says that this is a message related to donkey, so we're going to send him back some messages. So it's just another call on that web service class. And we'll just get rid of the debugger there. Okay, so it comes in, and then it gives us a nice link to look at some donkeys. There they are. Lovely. Right. Yeah, so this also can do some stuff more related to SAP. So what I've done is, let's just kill him for now. Okay. So when I ask him to do a health check, he will run off and go and look for short dumps in the system. So I've created loads of them in here. So if I connect the Slackbot again, and say health check, now it should run off and then just pull all the short dumps that are in the system. I thought you'd enjoy the donkeys. Right, so that's pulling out some short dumps. The other thing I was playing around with is running some unit tests in the background and then pulling the results of them into Slack. So I had this other class I was playing around with, and I thought it might be fun just to kind of glue the two of them together. So what this class will do is you can give it a package name, and it will go in, it'll fish out all the classes that have unit tests within that package, and then execute the unit test in the background, and then kind of give you a table with the results. So I've just got this return table that's like fairly simple, just the name of the class, the test method, if it passed or failed, and a description if it did fail, why it failed. So we could test this. Let's maybe do this in the debugger as well. Okay, so I've passed it in this package, ZCT. It's just kind of a dummy package somewhere. Where is it? Oh, I thought I had it open. Actually didn't. ZCT. Right, so there's a couple of classes in here. I think I'll just put unit tests on one of them. So if I go and look at the unit test for this guy, it's 750, I think. Yeah, I downloaded it recently, so it's fairly recent. Oh, how do you do that again? Application help, is it? I can't remember. Oh, it's in here. Right. 750, yeah. So you can do all sorts of nice stuff with it. Okay, so yeah, so there's just, oh, I must have this open somewhere. Oh yeah, I've got it open, right. Okay, so this has just got some dummy tests in it, right? So we've just got some stupid ones. So test that true is true and test that true is false. So maybe let's add another one to show you it working. So we'll have methods, demo test for show and tell. Okay, so test. Oops. Okay, so let's make this fail. Right, so we got 3 tests in there. So let's run these just in ABAP, see what happens. Okay, yeah, so as we expect, we got another test failing and tests, and the other test not running because I forgot to say for testing. So yeah, so now we've got another test failing, demo test is failing. Right, great. Right, so let's run them in Slack. So I've still got a debugger open somewhere. Oops, right. Nearly there. So on the Slackbot again. Right, there's our bot kicking off. So we can say, at ABAP run tests. Package we'd like to run it for ZCT. Oh, so it's running the tests and hitting the debugger. Whoa, so there they come. So there we go. We got a little icon, failing test, another test, demo test, failing as well, and one passing test. And that just gives you the assertion why the test failed. So I thought that was just a little bit of fun. Yeah, so the problem I had with this running this is somewhere in the depths of the standard code that I'm calling to run the tests, it does some kind of logical unit of work thing. I think it was like a rollback or something. And if you're using these ABAP push channels, there's a number of statements that you can't execute. So there's stuff around, obviously, call-in screens wouldn't make any sense. But also things like commit work cause it to short dump. So that's actually most of the short dumps that you saw there in ST22. So if you are playing around with these WebSocket things and you start getting these APC illegal statement things, it means you're more than likely calling one of these inadvertently, and it's just short dumping, which is not very good. So I had just a little bit of a hacky workaround for this, which is to call the unit test at the start before I make the WebSocket connection. Where's the thing? You can see it's just kind of running in an endless loop. So yeah, so my first attempt at a workaround was, where am I? Run tests. Yeah, so I tried to call the function module starting a new task, kind of kicking it off in the background, and then getting the results back when it finishes, but that didn't work either. So I still had loads of short dumps. So that's a bit of an issue still. Yeah, not sure if I'll have to fix that one. Okay, so any questions on that so far, or do you want to see a bit of ABAP Git? Yeah, so yeah, I downloaded that, and then I have got it running in a Vagrant VM, so you don't have to, like, it seems a bit faster than other things. So if you want to check that out, you can go to Vagrant. It's like a container thing. It's kind of like Docker, I guess, except more of a VM than a container. But the cool thing about I don't know what that is. Sorry. The cool thing about Docker, or it's not Docker, Vagrant, is that people have made loads of systems before. So it's pretty much anything you want. So you can just get a plain old Ubuntu box or whatever. Or, I mean, if you wanted to do, an Apache running, there's loads of them kind of pre-built. So the one problem I had with that is I think it needs a gigantic hard drive, something like, I don't know, is it 80 gigs or something crazy? So that was a bit of a problem because these all kind of come with small hard drives, and it seems quite difficult to enlarge them once they're created. So I think I found one that was called a big hard drive or something like that. Yeah, so that's the one I'm using, with 100 gigabyte hard drive. And then there was a good guide on SDN somewhere about installing it. But I guess what I could do is just copy the VM onto like a USB. If anyone wants a copy of it, I'm happy to do that. I've already backed it up onto kind of an external hard drive. So that's kind of all there is to the bot, really. I don't think he does anything more. Yeah, so we've covered kind of pulling out stuff there. I don't know if there's anything up. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so when he just listens for the exit command. So when he hears that, I've just got it's just canary variable. So this is just this sticks it into the endless loop until this is gets a value into it. Oh yeah. So the main method to parse the messages are in here. So it comes in, it gets handed this JSON string, and then I'm just kind of seeing if the message contains. So obviously this user is hard coded in. This is in Slack. You don't get the name of the user back. You don't get in this case ABAP. You just get this identifier. So what if I was less lazy, I could have called the user command. I think it lists all the API methods in there somewhere. Oh yeah, right here. So there's probably one for user. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So that's yeah. Okay. Right. I didn't tweak that one. There's the donkeys. Yeah, so you could go and fetch the username. So the nice thing, one of the nice things about the Slack API is you can test all the API from within here. So if I wanted to find the user, I don't know that one off by heart. So let's look at channels. Channel, this like channel list or something. Anyway, let's just pick one at random. Oh, that doesn't work. Be in here. It's probably under methods, isn't it? Right. Yeah, so you can execute any of the API methods from within this test thing here. So there's a little tester tab, which is quite good. So I can say, right, what would it look like if I called the channels list method on the API? So it just executes it there and you get the JSON back, which is yeah, quite nice if you're into that sort of thing. Right, so that's connecting to Slack. There's nothing really other of interest in here. The test runner is quite interesting. So again, you just implement this ABAP unit listener interface. It gives you a load of methods. So when you run this, what you do is, so I'm fetching the list of classes in the package, and then I'm looping over each one. I'm adding it to the text factory here, and then executing the unit test. And I think this means like execute it in the bathroom, in the background. Yes. So again, if the test fails, you get it dropping into this assert failure method. And I'm just pulling out the details then and sticking them into the results with a fail on the result. And then the pass, I think I'm assuming that if it doesn't go in there, then it will go into method end. Oh yeah, so I just check that it was okay. And then I just get the details of the passing test, stick pass onto the result and pass that back. So that's sort of interesting. Yeah, so I was playing around with sending the results. Anything in there? off to a HTTP server. I think that was in a different package actually. Oops. Z. Oh yeah, I'll go through ABAP Git and I'll post it up to Git as an example, and then you can all laugh at my code. Yeah, so this is kind of an aside, but yeah, so it was send test result, was it? Oh yeah, so I just set up a little local server, so to like thinking you could send it off to some kind of CI system or something with the tests. So you could like schedule the tests to run in the background and then post the results to Jenkins or GitLab or what have you. Okay, so just about finished. So I'll go through ABAP Git. I don't know a lot about it, but I can show you how it works. So first you need to create a repository on GitLab, GitHub even. So I think I created one here. So Z Slackbot, there's nothing in it though. So you need to just create it with an initial README. So let's push everything. So I haven't set up a transaction for this, so I'll just go, yeah, it's just when you install it, it creates this Z program. Right, so you would then clone the repository. So I've done this step. So I've got the URL from GitHub and cloned it into there. And then it will ask you for a package. So you're going to match up the package with the Git repo. So I've already done that bit. I've just linked it to that Z Slackbot package, which is where we've been looking there. So pushing it, then we go into staging. So this is all the local code, and we want to add all this. Is there an add all? It's not that long, right? So we'll just add all these things. Commit. Right. So it should be doing its thing. Yeah, looks like it worked. Refresh this guy. Yeah, and then all the ABAP is now in here. I don't know if, no, seems the syntax highlighted and everything, doesn't it? Yep. Yeah, so I haven't really played around with creating branches or any of the more advanced stuff. But yeah, it seems relatively simple to use. Yeah, install that. Okay, that was kind of all I had to show you, really. Any questions? Did you enjoy that? I don't know. I hope you can still hear me. Do you want to see the donkeys again? There they are. Okay, yeah, I will end the call then. Thanks for watching. Oh. Thank you. Right, bye.